Lori's back in Arizona, and Lori and Chad are back in the headlines. Let's talk about a couple of those updates with Chad and Lori Daybell in today's video. Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. Sofa's back there. Roscoe's on it. There's a little tree behind me, and my name's Paul. Y'all, I appreciate you being here at the sofa, and if you are new here, well, my name's Paul, and if you just don't know my name, well, my name's Paul as well. Today, we're going to be talking about just a couple of little updates with Lori and Chad Daybell. We'll go over a very quick little, 60-second version of what the case is if you have not been following it. However, this is like next to impossible to do a 60-second update, more like a 60-year update or 60-second overview, whatever you want to call it, because it's so tragic, number one, and just so layered. But we'll be talking about just a couple of things very specifically. We will be looking at a few video clips of Lori because I'm just absolutely fascinated by the fact that she can just still skip her way through the day, basically, okay? So that's it. Now, before we jump in, if you do want to follow me on the Instagram, as the kids like to call it, I think. I don't know, maybe they moved past it. Anyways, it's on the screen. It's in the description. Go on, click it. Mr. Roscoe and I, we hang out over there sometimes and post pictures and whatever you do on Instagram. Anyways, that's it. Let's go ahead and start with that quick overview. So, Lori and Chad Daybell, so they were the doomsday couple. They ran off together. All of a sudden, death started to come around them. So Lori was convicted in the deaths of her children, Tylee and JJ, and the death of her husband Chad Daybell's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Now, she is in Arizona facing 2 more counts, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and this is in relation to Charles Vallow, which was her late husband, and Brandon Boudreaux, her niece's ex-husband. Now, Chad Daybell is getting ready to go to trial for those same things that Lori's already been found guilty of. They split their cases, it's gone on back and forth, so on and so forth. So he's getting ready to go up to trial for that. We'll talk about that last. We'll talk about Lori first. Now, keep in mind that Lori is already serving life without parole. Now, upon the conclusion of this upcoming case in Arizona, she's going to have to do, whatever that situation is. We'll be very curious to see what and how that will play out. Okay, so that's the very quick overview there. I have an entire playlist on this if you want to watch my playlist, and there's literally channels and podcasts and books dedicated to this case. So what we're going to do is we're going to first talk about Lori, but what I want to do specifically with this is I want to look at a few clips from a press conference about the update of her getting transferred or whatever. So let's just look at a couple of clips, and we're going to look at some more like body language type stuff. Now, before we get into this, keep in mind, if you're new to my channel or if you don't watch it or whatever, you know what I'm saying. Just keep this in mind. Look, I ain't no professional. I'm not credentialed. I ain't fancy. I'm not the educated and all that stuff, okay? I'm just a guy with a sofa and a dog and some opinions. So my stuff is literally just that, y'all. It's just my opinion from the sofa. So do with that what you will. And just keep that in mind as we talk about this stuff. Now, let's go ahead and watch a couple of those clips.
Yeah, no, that is a good question. She will be, she's deemed to be high security, so she'll be isolated in a high security area of the Estrella jail.
Okay, I wanted to put this up there because I just find it fascinating that all these years she's been doing this, she somehow manages like this whole scenario of this, I don't want to say special treatment because I get it, it's not special treatment, someone in her situation would get that, but she has such this like different experience of incarceration than most people would have, and so I'm very curious to see what it is like when she actually gets to prison, how someone like her, it will go over for her. I know how we hear stories of what it's like for men and men's prisons and things like that when they've done these crimes, like that they have as like bad papers, you know what I'm saying? So Chad Daybell, for example, if he's going to go away convicted on these crimes against his wife and children and stuff like that, his paperwork ain't going to look good on the yard. So what is it like for someone like Lori who's going to finally make it to the yard one day? How do women handle this in prison? What is that like? If anybody's willing to share in the comment section, don't put yourself out there if you don't want to, but if you do, well, good Lord, share. We're interested. So I just find that fascinating. Let's keep going.
I understand that she was very sociable the entire trip. Talked quite a bit.
About what?
Oh, that's between the deputies, the courts, and the prosecutor, apparently. I don't know that she gave any specific statements related to the investigation, but I just know that they said she was very chatty.
Can't roll my damn eyes hard. Drink it from the cup with y'all. Might need to just fill the damn cup up for this video. This is what blows my mind with her. Now, I will say this before I even go off on my little rant here. Okay, I understand that at the end of the day, she's still a human being. She's still going to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that. But there doesn't ever seem to have been a moment in this case where she stopped and was like, oh my God, look at what happened. All the way up to the guilty verdict where she's talking about, only God knows what happened and no murders took place and all that kind of stuff. And you're just like, what? And then when we watch her clips in a minute, she still just has this little baby voice. And just and again, I understand that this was number one years ago and that she's taken no real accountability in this. So in her world, it's like, well, I didn't do this, or, I've been wrongly accused and I'm the victim and, all this stuff. So that's the part that just blows my mind. So I'm just like, oh, she probably talked their ears off on the way down there. Would pay good money to know what she said.
Any other questions, Ms. Howell?
Just one attorney or more attorneys will be assigned?
Well, at this point in time, you're likely going to have the one lawyer represent you at this particular hearing.
This is what I'm talking about. Giggles with the judge. Just one attorney or multiple. And it's just like, again, it's just like, because of this high profile case, I think she loves this attention. Loves the attention. And again, that's the part that just really cooks my grits. Because look at what it's attention over. Now, let's watch a few clips of her getting checked in, all that kind of stuff, booked in, whatever you're going to call it. Like it's a hotel checked in. You know what I'm saying? Let's watch a few clips like this. I'm going to kind of just talk while they're playing. So here she is. She's coming out. Now, again, they would have said that they took, cars because something was going on with the flight. It was just easier to do this. They sent a female deputy along with Rye for obvious reasons. Here she is getting changed over into her blue. There she is again with her hair just kind of shackled up. Just her usual, demeanor. There she is again. Just talking. Just happy to makeup, full glam. Face the wall. Again, it's just, it blows my mind watching her. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is in my mind that I would expect. This is what I expected at this point with Lori, actually. Is this nonchalant, just, I've got my hair curled, my makeup on, kind of a thing. And just, how eerie that would be. I know these officers are around a variety of people, but there's just something so bone chilling to me about Lori. And I guess because when I see her, I just immediately go to the images of her children, and the almost like this montage of a movie plays in my mind of all that took place over these years, starting with the beginnings of like, where are the kids? Like, because in the beginning we thought there's some cult, maybe she's hiding them. Everyone kind of gave her the benefit of the doubt in the very beginning. Like, we didn't know out in the public eye exactly what was going down. Now, clearly people like Kay and Larry did. It very quickly spun out of control though, to where the public was like, girl, where are the kids? So when I see her, that's all I think of in my mind. Now, I'm not just trying to discount, Tammy and Charles and these other people as well, but obviously, JJ and Tyler are the first people that come to my mind, and knowing what ended up happening. And so seeing Lori just swinging her hair back and forth with her little, jailhouse makeup on, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. Now, what I'll be interested to see in Arizona is, number one, are we going to, how long is this going to take? Because if this goes anything like the previous trial, this could be years. Okay, years. In my mind, I also think, is she going to try and do this whole stalling thing like she did? Because it only behooves her, in my opinion, I don't know, to remain in jail rather than prison. Maybe for safety reasons, that type of thing. But I don't know how it works with women's prisons and jails and whatnot. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going to be on the table for her. If she ends up, being eligible for DP, how does that play out? How will it play out with her already serving the other sentence in another state? Will they just talk to that state and be like, no, we want to put her here, so that we can, send her to old Sparking? I don't know. Will we get to see her trial televised? Will there be cameras in the courtroom? So many questions. And again, the fact that they just got justice in this other one, which absolutely, amen, that needed to happen, and it's getting fired up all over again. As it should, to bring justice for Charles. My God, right? Larry and Kay. This literally is defining this zone in life for them. It is so it gives me goosebumps. It's so sad. And I think of them too. Obviously, I'm talking about them, but, I'm thinking of the imagery that I get of the children. And then immediately where I'm like, look at what Larry and Kay have had to go through at this time in life, in these golden years. Look at what they're going through. And now here we are with Charles's, case coming up and whatnot. Again, more power to him to get justice. You know what I'm saying? But it just it blows my mind. I don't know how they have the strength. I mean, I can't imagine doing that. I'm in my 40s, right? And it's exhausting sounding to me where I'm like, my hat's off to him, okay? My hat's off to him. Now, another thing, side note with this that will be interesting is because this is dealing with Brandon Boudreaux and Lori's niece, Melanie. Are we going to see, what is she going to have to say about this? Because again, this is one of those things, and again, this is just my opinion. I do not have any fact, fiction, whatever, pointing towards this. I don't know how she was able to skirt around getting any kind of charges for this. This is very similar. I've been also talking about the Dan Markel case, specifically Wendy Adelson and her lack of, or her, ability to skirt around getting any charges in that case with it. And this reminds me so much of that, with Melanie, nope, I didn't tell, Alex that, where he was at and the whole 9 yards. So I'm very interested to see this trial and how it plays out. Now, that being said, let's very quickly talk about Chad Daybell. Now, like I said, next spring, Chad is going to be going to face charges in relation to his late wife, Tammy, Tylee, JJ. He's going through this whole same thing that Lori just went through. Now, here's the thing that's going to be very interesting for Mr. Chad is to see what, which direction this goes for him. Because we see what happened with Lori, and she didn't have the death penalty on the table for her trial. Okay. So there's that. Now, secondly, the big thing with him is that yes, cameras are going to be allowed. There will be a live stream. Now, the judge should put some, limitations on that and basically trying to control that in that, the court's going to be in charge of the cameras, right? It's going to be a live stream, that type thing. Go on and just prep yourselves up for it. It's the quality of the live stream, okay? However, that being said, I think that it is amazing that is going to take place, okay? We saw how it went with Lori's not having that and the way that went down. In my opinion and in my mind, and I don't know, but if you watch Letitia Stauch's trial and the quality of that is kind of how I'm imagining this will go down, but at least we're going to be able to actively see cameras in the courtroom. Now, John Pryor, who is Chad's attorney, he's been arguing saying, we want the cameras, right? We want the transparency. Chad wants them. And the reason he's citing this for, and I'm looking at an East Idaho News article here specifically, is saying the primary reason Mr. Daybell wants cameras is for his family in Utah to watch the proceedings. They like to be able to view it, Pryor said. Cameras keep everybody honest. They keep the system honest. They keep the witnesses honest. They keep everyone honest. How about your client, okay? That's all I got to say with that. But again, amen. Let's have it up there. Let's put that out there, and let's see Mr. Chad squirm when people get on the stand and face him. So, that being said, I had to grab Mr. Roscoe. He was starting to get a little ornery back there. He got a little bit excited to hear that cameras will be allowed, and he's very eager to see justice served for Mr. Chad. So, that being said, let me know what you think. What do you think, with Chad? I mean, do we think that he's going to be going to Old Sparky? Do we think that he's going to be squirming the whole time? My thing is that when we've seen Chad in proceedings before, he looked way more uncomfortable than Lori ever did. Like, he was more aware of the gravity of the situation than Lori and her little blissful, like, I didn't have anything to do with it, so I'm fine, and we're in La La Land type vibe. Okay, do you think that it's going to be a years-long thing with the Arizona situation? What are your opinions on it? So, anyways, if you're still watching, I greatly appreciate it. Roscoe says he thinks you too, and what was that? Huh?
Dad, tell him to drop the sofas. I would say it, but I'm a little hoarse today.
He didn't mean he's a little horse, like a little baby horse that clampers around. His throat's a little hoarse, okay? He's just at that age. Okay. But he did ask that you drop some sofas in the comment section. And until Roscoe and I will skedaddle on down there to the comment section and talk to y'all hanging out in those sofas, we'll see y'all down there.